The God of War series is one of the PlayStation's most celebrated and acclaimed series next to other series like Uncharted, Horizon, Little Big Planet, Ratchet & Clank, The Last of Us, etc. The series was created by David Jaffe and primarily developed by Santa Monica Studio. The series follows Kratos, a cursed demigod and Spartan warrior who at first served the gods of Olympus, but then after their betrayal, he embarks on a bloody warpath against monsters, men, and the Olympians. Afterwards, he leaves Greece for a new life in Midgard, seeking redemption and a second chance. Yet this new land brings with it a new set of challenges and dangers. This episode of World of Timelines will focus on the timeline of God of War, starting in Greece and all the way to Midgard. Pre-God of War. Long ago, before the Titans and the gods of Olympus, there were the Primordials, the very beings who forged the earth. As they warred between each other, the Furies were brought forth. The Furies were bound to no one as they were guardians of honor and enforcers of punishment. In the time of myth and legend, there were the Titans, who at first ruled the world. The Titan, known as Kronos, would eat his own infant children as he feared that one of them would overthrow him and the Titans. The reason for this is that he learned from the Sisters of Fate that he was destined to be overcome by his own son, just as he had overthrown his father. But then, his wife Rhea would entrust her infant son to Gaia so that he would be safe. That baby boy would be none other than Zeus, who defeated the Titans and liberated his brothers and sisters during the Great War. When the Titans were overthrown, Zeus and the gods would create Olympus, and the former will become their king. Hera will become the wife of Zeus and the queen of the gods. The marriage of Zeus and Hera was far from a happy one, as the powerful king of the gods was known for his constant trysts with mortal women. As it is known in Greek mythology, Zeus would sire demigod heroes such as Jason, Perseus, and Hercules. But in the world of God of War, there will be one demigod that would stand above all the rest, one that will bring chaos and destruction. The life of Kratos. Kratos was born in a land called Sparta, located in Greece. He was born from a beautiful woman named Callisto and was fathered by Zeus, king of the gods. Callisto would also give birth to another son, Deimos, who was also a son of Zeus. Now, being born a Spartan was one thing, but Kratos was far greater than that, as he was the son of Zeus. As a demigod, he was blessed with divine traits such as godlike strength, agility, and senses, which made him stand out from his fellow Spartans. Callisto would not tell Kratos about being a demigod while he was growing up, thus bearing the secret as she raised both him and Deimos. Now, as it is known in Greek mythology and history, being born a Spartan meant that you were born a warrior. The moment a Spartan would start walking and standing, they were given a sword and spear to start their training to become part of the mightiest and finest army in all history. When Kratos was 13 years old, he and his brother Deimos trained to become part of the Spartan army and aspired to become part of the Vanguard Circle, the highest rank for a cadet that allows him to lead their own unit. While heading out for another assignment from Konstantinos, they learned that one of their classmates, Vasilis, went missing, and none of the authorities are doing anything about it. Disobeying Konstantinos to not find him, the brothers argue about the search effort as Kratos believes Vasilis to be a weak link, but Deimos is eager to find him. They come across many dangers such as fighting monsters and a cult. The brothers would realize that Vasilis was trying to find ways to make himself useful to Sparta. They defeat the cult and a powerful Ipotane, and the two brothers manage to find Vasilis. He was killed by a chimeric monster called Koteros, which they subsequently slay in return. They notice an arrow into the monster's eye that was shot by Vasilis, and the brothers honor him in death as a true Spartan warrior. Although Kratos and Deimos were not punished, Kratos was denied the chance to join the Vanguard Circle. Deimos is taken. One day in Olympus, the gods learned of a dark prophecy which foretold the destruction of Olympus caused by one marked at birth. Zeus ordered the gods, Ares and Athena, to find such a child and bring him before him as he seeks to end this cycle of patricide. While Kratos and Deimos were training, the two gods appeared and took Deimos away because they believed that the latter was the one who would destroy Olympus due to his unusual markings. Kratos attempted to save his brother by fighting the gods, but Ares swatted him like a fly, scarring him on his right eye and took Deimos away. The goddess Athena would stop and turn to Kratos saying, "Forgive me," and then she walks away. He then branded himself with the same tattoos as his brother and vowed to never fail again. Lysandra and Calliope. Although he was born to be a warrior, he found a sense of peace when he married a beautiful woman named Lysandra. The two would create a child, the beautiful Calliope. Unfortunately, by the time Calliope was born, it was a time of decease in Greece, and so Calliope was born deformed. It is known in Spartan history that when boys and girls were born, they were inspected to see if they were strong or weak. If these babies were weak, they were discarded in the mountains and left to die. That is really fucked up. Kratos would then ask the Spartan king for permission to find the ambrosia of the gods to cure his beloved daughter and the Spartans from any disease. With the deal now struck, Kratos would track down the ambrosia and would fight against the barbarian prince Ulrich. The fight was brutal as Ulrich was able to land fatal blows on the Spartan. It was not enough to keep him down though. Eventually, Ulrich was defeated by Kratos and left for dead. Once he returned to Sparta, Calliope was cured of her sickness. As a reward for his success, Kratos was given the rank of a Spartan captain. The rise of the Ghost of Sparta. Kratos would amass an army that started in the hundreds and grew in the thousands. With every charge, every campaign, Kratos was victorious. That is until a vengeful Ulrich would amass his own army and lead a charge against Kratos. At the time of the journey for the ambrosia, Ulrich sought the cure for his father. Once he became king of the barbarians after his father died, Ulrich developed a vendetta against the Spartan. In the second round, the barbarian king would be victorious. As the barbarian king was about to land the finishing blow, Kratos then shouted to the then god of war, Ares, and offered him a deal that he could not refuse. Kratos would swear an eternal life of servitude if he could allow him to conquer his enemies. Ares accepted the deal with open arms, and in the blink of an eye, the barbarian horde was eradicated. Kratos bowed before Ares, who would sear his arms tight with the chains tied to the former's trademark and iconic weapon, the Blades of Chaos. Being a slave to the god of war, he traveled from land to land spreading war, destruction, and death in the name of Ares. Because of this, Kratos would succumb to his rage and anger and was losing not only his grip on reality, but his humanity as well. But the memory of his wife and daughter kept his humanity intact, which is something that Ares was not happy about. One night, Kratos attacked a village that worshipped Athena, goddess of war and military strategies. The oracle of the village warned Kratos to not proceed any further, as she foresaw his arrival. She would tell him that if he enters the shrine, he will do something he will eternally regret. This warning fell on deaf ears as Kratos entered the shrine and slaughtered the innocent villagers in blind rage and cold blood. Among the victims were his wife Lysandra and daughter Calliope. Ares was sympathetic, but glad that Kratos fulfilled this task as he has become a great warrior. Greatly disgusted by what Kratos had done, the oracle cursed him to carry the sins of his past and grafted the ashes of his wife and daughter all over his skin, bleaching it white. He will be plagued with nightmares of the horrific memories of his sins every night during his sleep. From then on, Kratos will become known as the Ghost of Sparta.